Republican voters heading to the polls today in the South Carolina primary. Donald Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley are the last two remaining GOP candidates left on the ballot. The latest CBS News poll shows Trump holding a more than 2-to-1 edge over Haley. And there's no home field advantage for Haley, who led the state from 2011 to 2017. 75% of South Carolina primary voters say her service to the Palmetto State makes no difference in who they are voting for. But in the race's final hours, the candidates found themselves answering questions about a new campaign issue. This week's ruling by Alabama's Supreme Court that frozen embryos are children. The ruling puts in vitro fertilization access in doubt in Alabama and is bringing reproductive rights back into the national spotlight. CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa is in Charleston, South Carolina. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. IVF treatments on the minds of so many voters here in South Carolina and across the country. But here today, it's a high-stakes day for the former governor, Nikki Haley. But win or lose in South Carolina, she told me she is going to carry on, arguing to Republicans across the country that she's in a better position to beat President Joe Biden than former President Donald Trump.
Republican primary frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, said he strongly supports the availability of IVF.
Today I'm calling on the Alabama legislature to act quickly to find an immediate solution to preserve the availability of IVF in Alabama.
As former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley aims for a breakthrough in her home state, a national reckoning over the Alabama Supreme Court's ruling on in vitro fertilization is upending the final hours of the South Carolina primary.
How should Republicans talk about IVF treatments?
It's personal for me, too. We want to make sure embryos are protected. We want to make sure that parents are in charge. We want to make sure that the conversation between the parents and the doctors is the most important conversation. This decision needs to be decided between the parents and the physicians, no one else.
The debate over Alabama's decision is now putting 2024 battleground Republican candidates in political crosshairs, causing the campaign arm of the Senate to encourage Republican Senate candidates to clearly and concisely reject efforts by the government to restrict IVF. But amid the fallout, an intense push for votes in South Carolina for the last two Republican presidential candidates.
We have a country to save.
Top Republicans tell CBS News they're urging Haley to stay in the race as long as possible, in case Trump is convicted in the criminal hush money case set to begin next month in New York.
Trump can't win a general election, and so we have a decision to make. And the decision is, do we want more of the same, or do we want to make sure we go in a new direction? And I think Americans want us to go in a new direction.
Some of those top Republican donors also tell me they'll be closely watching the margin tonight to see if Haley can keep this competitive. And if she does, they're ready to pour millions more behind her campaign ahead of those Super Tuesday contests in early March. If she doesn't, it's going to be harder for her to generate momentum among Republican financiers. Jeff.
Bob Costa, thank you very much.